Is it Polymarket or Poiymarket with an I? Yeah, I can't tell, and neither could anybody else. If you can't spot the fake site, you won't spot the fake win. Somebody on there just won 100 grand on camera, but just let me explain. So what actually is Polymarket? Apparently it's the biggest prediction market in the world, a website where you can bet on whether or not real-world events will happen. Will this candidate win? Will Bitcoin pass some price by Friday? You buy yes or no, and if you're right, you get paid. If not, you lose. It runs on crypto, the bets settle on a blockchain, and during the 2024 election, it did billions of dollars in volume. That's the company. The pitch they sell is simple. When enough people bet real money, the market is supposed to tell you what the likely outcome will be, which makes what it just got caught doing a little awkward. And to be fair, there's a real reason people love this. Crowds betting their own money are often shockingly good at predicting things, sometimes better than the polls or the experts. The price of a yes share basically is the crowd's odds. Trading at 60 cents means the crowd thinks it's about 60% likely to happen. And here's the genius part of the sales pitch. It's quote-unquote trustless. You don't have to trust the company because every trade gets written to a public blockchain that anyone on earth can check. No backroom, no house cooking the books. So hold on to the word audit, and it'll make sense why in a second. In June of 2026, the Wall Street Journal published an investigation, and here's what they say they found. Polymarket had been paying creators to post videos of themselves winning big, except the bets were fake. The journal reviewed more than 1,100 videos. About 70% showed someone placing a bet. Not one was placed on a real exchange. Roughly $1.9 million in wagers. None of it real. So how do you film a win that never happened? According to the Wall Street Journal, Polymarket built near perfect copies of its own website, which were fake sites where creators placed fake trades that looked completely real. One used the address poiymarket.com, a capital I where the L should be, so on screen it's indistinguishable from the real thing. The Wall Street Journal reports an ex-employee said Polymarket itself built the sites. It came down right after reporters started asking questions about it. How convenient. Now let's go back to that word, audit. The blockchain only audits what happens on the blockchain, or the trades that actually execute. It says nothing about the marketing where, nobody was looking. So the part that everyone was worried about, the money, was the honest, verifiable part. And the part nobody audited, the cleverly worded marketing ads pulling you in, is exactly where the lie lived. A company selling truth faked the one thing it swore was impossible to fake. Now here's a fun fact, and let's get this one out of the way, because this whole operation wasn't just one rogue intern. Politico News reported that the company's own chief marketing officer allegedly paid creators out of a, wait for it, and I shit you not, his personal PayPal account for hundreds of posts that never disclosed that they were sponsored. The journal says creators were paid $2,000 to $3,000 a month, told to keep Polymarket out of their account names, told to look personal and organic, and also told not to disclose that they were paid. Some only added Polymarket partner to their bios after the reporters started calling. Now here's a golden moment. How do you think Polymarket responded? Oh, with this. We are committed to maintaining accurate, fair, and transparent markets. We are part of a rapidly growing industry and are constantly evaluating ways to improve how we're engaging and earning the trust of our audience. Come on, you've heard this exact paragraph a million times for other scandals or when somebody got caught doing something. It's the sound a company makes when it just got caught. It's lawyer written, says nothing, admits nothing, denies nothing. Notice what's missing? How about sorry, or the words, no we didn't. They didn't deny a single finding. They announced an audit of themselves. Gee, I wonder what they'll find. And honestly, faking the ads like what we see with this Polymarket nonsense is just the obnoxiously loud version of what these platforms do quietly all the time. They rename things to dodge the rules. Let me give you an example with what a casino calls a parlay. A parlay, which is stacking bets so they all have to hit, is a casino word. And casino words come with gambling laws. So Kalshi calls this same thing a combo. And when Polymarket filed to offer the exact same product, it refused to call them parlays. Oh, good on them. It called them, and I am not making this up, combinatoric athletic outcome contracts. Right, that makes sense because that shady looking guy posted up in the dark back alley isn't a drug dealer. He's a independent curbside pharmaceutical consultant. Now here's the legal reason they do it. Because if it's a contract, it's a financial product under federal rules, and that lets them argue state gambling laws don't apply. Which is why a bunch of states say that they're skirting the law. It's a parlay. Everyone knows it's a parlay. But let's take a deeper look. So if they'll fake the way in and rename the product to dodge the law, you have to ask yourself about the part that actually pays you out. So who decides who won? A blockchain can hold the money, but it can't know whether a war started or an election got called. So Polymarket hands that judgment piece to an outside system called an oracle, where people who hold a crypto token called UMA vote on what really happened. And the more tokens you own, the more your vote counts. And you can already start to see the problem here. A Wall Street Journal investigation into these disputes found that in most of them, more than half the votes came from the 10 biggest wallets, and that some of those voters had money riding on the very outcome that they were deciding. It's a jury where the richest jurors get the most votes, and some of them are betting on their own verdict. UMA says it's quote-unquote never seen credible evidence of manipulation, but you don't have to prove the jury is crooked to see the problem with letting it bet on its own verdict. Now, here's a clear example of what this whole system actually produced. There was a market asking a simple question. Would the company's Strategy sell any of its Bitcoin by May 31st of 2026? And it did. Strategy sold Bitcoin in the last week of May. But here's the catch. It didn't announce the sale until filing on June 1st, one day after the deadline. So the sale was real, but the proof showed up a day late. Should it count? Now watch this. While people were still arguing it out, Polymarket added a brand new note to the rules saying proof that arrives after the deadline doesn't count. And then that oracle we mentioned earlier made it official. The market resolved to the outcome for that market to no. But the sale happened. The people who actually bet yes correctly, they lost. And depending on which report you read, anywhere from $60 million to $400 million was riding on that outcome. Now, stack one more thing on top. When you let people bet on events that specific humans control, like government decisions, military strikes, you've built a cash prize for knowing the secret first. When the US and Iran were trading strikes in 2026, Bloomberg's analysis flagged around $45 million in suspiciously well-timed bets. Analysts found small clusters of brand new accounts betting almost only on military action, and they were winning again and again. Some cases became actual indictments. And it gets darker. A journalist in Israel reported a missile strike, and because his wording would settle a market, bettors flooded him with messages trying to get him to change it. Some, he says, escalated to bribes and death threats. Polymarket called that unacceptable and banned the accounts. But sit with what that means. Real money riding on real violence with an incentive to bend the record. The question needs to be asked, who's actually winning on the platforms the ads call easy money? Multiple independent analyses landed in the same place. A Wall Street Journal study of more than 1.5 million accounts found the majority of users, somewhere between 70 and 87%, depending on the study, lose money. And that about 0.1% of all accounts captured roughly 2/3 of all the profits. In fairness, the best researchers say those top winners were mostly skilled traders and bots running arbitrage, not necessarily insiders. But for you, the person watching a hype video, the shape is identical. A tiny, sophisticated, machine-equipped few quietly taking the money from a very large crowd of everyone else. And here's the part that should make you nervous. This circus is just getting started because now big tech wants in. Just this week, reporters revealed that Meta, yeah, Facebook's Meta, has a team under Mark Zuckerberg quietly building its own predictions market app, codenamed Arena. In fairness, their early version uses points, not real cash. But they've already made it abundantly clear that they refuse to rule out real money later. So let me get this straight. The company that got caught selling Cambridge Analytica the personal data of up to 87 million people, the company that ate a record $5 billion privacy fine for it, that company wants to run a place where you bet on the news? And we're supposed to trust that nothing shady will ever happen? Fuck off. So let me be precise because the nuance matters. Prediction markets aren't automatically a scam. The trades really do settle on a public ledger. Crowds really can price reality extremely well. That part of it is absolutely true and correct. It was everything around the trades that moved the money. The ads that were fake, the names that were changed, the referee that's captured, the players who already knew. They built a machine to tell you the truth, and then they lied to get you in the door. The bets were real, the winning was fake. So if you take one thing from this video, I hope it's this. When something looks too transparent to be a scam, that's the exact moment to ask who's holding the camera and what do they stand to gain. In this scam, they put every trade on a public ledger and faked everything you couldn't see. So before you trust another Polymarket, any market, or anyone's machine that sells you the truth, ask the only question that always pays you out. Who profits when you're wrong? Please subscribe if you enjoyed watching this video and got something out of it. See you in the next one.